Hey Jarvis, tell me about yourself. This is Jarvis. Jarvis is my personal AI assistant that I created with Claude Code. And it's a life operating system that manages my life across multiple domains, tracks my goals, projects, habits, and commitments, processes my email, keeps my day organized, and creates my daily plan, weekly reviews, and check ins. And this system has been helping me be extremely productive as I work on multiple client projects as well as my personal work-life balance. And no, I did not write any code for it. In fact, there was no coding involved, but there was Claude Code involved. And really, Jarvis is just Claude Code in a trench coat. So if you've heard of Claude Code and you've thought, oh no, that's not for me, I don't know how to code, it sounds way too technical, I'm going to show you that Claude Code is for you. And you do not need to know how to code to use Claude Code because Claude Code does the coding for you if you need it. But you can also still just use Claude Code for a ton of non-coding tasks like I do with Jarvis here. And in this video, I'm going to show you exactly how I built Jarvis and how you can too, and customize it to yourself without a line of code. So look, everyone focuses on this word here, code, which is the second half of Claude Code. And everyone thinks it is a tool for developers, and it is. It's an amazing tool for developers. I use it all the time to build projects. I built my website with it. I build client projects with it. I do all sorts of things with Claude Code that requires coding. But I do a ton of things that don't require coding. And the reason being, Claude Code is just a really good AI agent. It just happens to be good at coding, which is how it was first released. But the fact is, Anthropic, the company behind Claude, which you have used on the web app at claude.ai, realized that a lot of people were using claude.ai on the web app to generate code, and they were copying that code and pasting it in their local code computer files. And they realized, hey, why don't we just build something where it generates the code for them in their own computer without them having to go to claude.ai, copy the code, and paste it in. And that's how Claude Code was born. So if you think about it, Claude Code is really just another way for you to interact with Claude, except it's happening on your local computer and it has access to your local documents. How does it write code? Well, it has to have access to your computer so it can open up a file and write the code. So here I'm asking Claude Code to explain how it works itself, right? And what it's doing here is it is using a skill called Claude Code Guide to explain itself, which is just basically a bunch of pre-programmed instructions on how Claude Code works. And it can do this because it has the ability to use tools. So when I ask a question to Claude Code, I'm talking to the AI model, but the AI model is able to control things on my computer and create scripts, create small little programs, and read files and then respond to me based on the results. So Claude Code is an agentic AI coding assistant. You ask it something, it reads your code base, it then runs code or edits it or runs commands, and then you approve the changes and then it iterates. Now again, all of this is talking about code, but look at what it does. It can read files, it can write files, it can edit files, it can create its own bash commands and scripts, so little commands that run in your computer, and it can search on the web, and it can connect to external tools and APIs. Think about that. That's not useful for just code. That's useful for any work you do. In fact, think about the work you do, whether you are a marketer, a salesperson, you work in HR, in accounting, in finance, whatever, legal, right? A lot of the work that you do involves reading documents, writing documents, editing documents, changing files, doing web search, and opening up external tools and logging into external apps. All of that work that doesn't require your intelligence, creativity, but is just kind of like rote manual work that you have to do as part of your job. Open up an email, write a response, open up a document, read through it, change something, create a presentation, a pitch deck. All of that can be done by code, right? I can write a script that opens up a document and changes something, right? And so I don't have to go around clicking and doing it myself. Code can do it for me if I tell the code what to do. And in this case, if you don't know how to code, Claude Code will just tell the code what to do. And so, though Claude Code is great at coding, well, all your work is really just code, or it can be done with code. And so, Claude Code can become great at the work that you do if you show it how to do it. And that's basically what Jarvis is all about. It's me showing Claude Code, hey, this is the way I like to work. These are the things in my life that matter. Here's all the documents with all the information that you need. Now, help me be more productive, help me do my work, and help me plan my day. Now, you might be asking, okay, well, how is that different from ChatGPT? Because ChatGPT can, look at documents if I upload it into it. It can read my mails if I connect my Gmail. It can do a lot of things, and you probably are using ChatGPT on a daily basis. You go in there, you type something, it gives you something, you copy that, you paste it somewhere else, or you have an integration with some other tool, and ChatGPT can work with that tool directly. The main difference is that ChatGPT was built to work in a certain way, and the integrations that they've created, the integration with Gmail, with Calendar, with Zapier, with Documents, whatever, works a certain way. And so you have to work within the way that ChatGPT was built, which is fine for a lot of use cases. But if you have a very custom way of working, then it's not going to work for you because you don't want to change the way you work to conform to how ChatGPT works. So Claude Code is the answer to that because Claude Code doesn't have a predefined way of working. It's really just an AI agent, and you can tell it how you want it to work, and it just does it for you, right? So instead of using a pre-existing connection, I can do something in Claude Code. For example, I can say, hey, go check my email, search through my emails for people I haven't responded to in the last 2 weeks, find out all our conversation history, update them in my CRM, and then reach out again to follow up with them. So this is a sequence of steps that is not pre-built in ChatGPT. And it's not easy for you to do that in ChatGPT because you can't really connect all of these things around and tell ChatGPT how to do it. But with Claude Code, I can do it because it's simply just an AI agent that takes all of my instructions and goes, okay, step one is I need to go to Gmail. So I'm going to use a Gmail API to get specifically the people you have not responded to in 2 weeks. Step two is I need to read all of those past conversations with those people and then summarize it. Step three is I need to create a follow-up. And step four is I need to update the CRM. And then it uses APIs to do all of those custom work. And it may write a little script to do it as well. But basically, it's going to do all of that for you so that you don't need to figure out how to do it. And you don't need to set that up in ChatGPT, which you probably won't be able to anyway. So let me give you a practical demonstration, and I'll show you how Jarvis works. And I'll talk about how we built Jarvis later. I just want to give you some a demonstration. So here, as you can see, I have a bunch of custom commands, which I can type in here. So plan day, for example, is a custom command, which if I type in and hit enter, and I'm going to do it shortly, it runs through a bunch of instructions that I've given it in the past on how to plan my day, which means checking what day it is, looking through all of my projects and seeing what unfinished to-dos I have, checking my email, and then taking all of that information together and looking at my calendar and then planning out my full day for me based on my project work, my client work, and so on. Plus the different aspects of my life that I'm also tracking through this, like my fitness goals and my health and relationship goals as well. So I ran the command and Jarvis has come back to me with a plan for the day. It's given me my top 3 most important tasks for the day. It's told me which habits I need to track and my goals for the day, and then a suggested schedule based on my calendar and all the work that I have for the rest of my day. Here's an even better example. I had a call with someone yesterday who wanted me to guest speak for their lecture series. And because I have given Claude Code, or Jarvis in this case, access to my email and my calendar and my documents, Jarvis can see that conversation, the call transcript, as well as our email history. And it can pull all insights from it and tell me what I need to do to follow up with this person. So in this case, it's explaining here's everything I need to know about the speaking gig, as well as created a bunch of notes and put it into a folder, which I can read later. And now it's asking me, do you want me to prepare the deliverable? It's not just telling me what's happened and summarizing things for me, which you can obviously do in ChatGPT as well, right? You'll have to go into ChatGPT, log in, tell it specifically, go check this email, summarize it for me, all of that, great. But what's happening now is because Jarvis knows exactly the entire context of this conversation, plus it knows all of my expertise, which I've codified for it in terms of AI agents and building AI, coding with AI and so on. It can actually help me prepare that talk that I need to give from all of my past context and my past knowledge. Before Jarvis, I would have had to go into Google Slides or whatever, create a pitch deck, create slides, plan my talk, all of that kind of stuff. Now, and I could have used ChatGPT to help me figure it out, but I would still have to go and build the slides myself. The cool thing with Jarvis, like I said, remember, all of this work can be done by code. So now that Jarvis has the full context of our conversation with this person, plus all of the context of my knowledge and my expertise that's relevant to this talk that I'm about to give, it can help me come up with a talk, presentation, and then it can actually build the presentation for me. I don't even need to log into Google Slides or whatever else. It could just, because it's code, it just generates the code, and then I run it, and boom, I've got slides that I can now speak to at the talk. And so that kind of unlock, right, is not something that you will get with just ChatGPT. It is something that you need to use an AI agent like Claude Code to build for you and to do for you. So how do you build this for yourself? Well, like I said earlier, none of it requires any coding knowledge. I didn't write any code at all to build any of this stuff. It's all plain English. If you think about that little plan day script that I ran, it's actually really just a markdown file with a bunch of English instructions. And so I simply described to Claude, hey, here's how I like my day being planned. I first want you to check my emails, then I want you to check my calendar, then I want you to go through all the projects that we have stored in various documents, and then come up with a plan to work on the various unfinished tasks that I have. Claude, being an AI model, can figure out a lot of the little pieces in between. And it'll say, hey, I don't have access to Gmail. What is your Gmail API key? Boom. I give it my Gmail API key. Hey, I don't have access to your calendar. And so on and so forth. And maybe Claude might figure out, okay, look, the API key is not enough for me to use. I'm just going to write a script that can run anytime anytime Sid is asking for emails, and I don't need to figure it out every single time. I just run the script every time he needs it. And Claude Code will just write that script and store it somewhere. So you don't need to know exactly what Claude Code is doing in the back end. You just need to be very clear upfront about what you want it to do for you. And so my suggestion is, if you've never used Claude Code before, you first need to install it on your computer. I have instructions on my website, on my blog, on how to install Claude Code and how to set it up. All you have to do is just chat with it and ask it and tell it what you want. You've got to be very clear and say, hey, I want you to build a productivity system for me that helps me track various aspects of my life or my work. Here's the projects I'm working on. Here are the things that I'm doing. Here's a bit more about me. Give it all of that context, and then Claude can build that system for you. And work with Claude to tweak it to your needs, right? If you don't like the way something works, you change it up. This whole system I didn't build it in one day. I built it over multiple weeks. It really just started off as sort of like a to-do list tracker. I said, hey, Claude, I need you to start tracking my work in to-dos. And we built it just created a document and it tracked everything there. And I would ask it questions and it would tell me. Then I said, you know what? I need you to connect to my email so that you can see my conversations with my clients. So then it asked for an API key. It built an email connection tool. Then I said, I want you to connect to my calendar so that you can now plan my day for me. Then I realized, look, my life is not just about work. It's about other stuff like my fitness and my relationships. And at the start of the year, I said, hey, I want to do a more holistic tracking of my life. And so we built out those kind of things and started to track habits and so on. And so it happens over time. And all it is just me telling Claude, here's how I like to work, explaining the things I want, Claude going and doing the work for me, and then creating these custom scripts, custom commands, documents, and so on. To the point that now it's probably just like a ton of like markdown documents and text and scripts, and I don't really know what's going on in there, but it works for me. And every time if something breaks, I could just tell it to fix it, and it fixes it the way I want it to. I think the biggest shift here, the biggest takeaway here is that this requires a different way of thinking about AI. So far, people think of AI as ChatGPT, as a chat box that you go in and you have to upload content or give it some context and it tells you things. And then when it tells you, you go and you do the thing. But you need to reframe work around what is the stuff that you should really be working on as a human, and what are the things that an AI should be taking over for you, or a machine in this case. And logging into different apps, copying and pasting data, downloading stuff, uploading things, none of that stuff is worth your time. Like, you shouldn't be doing any of that. That's work that a human assistant would do. And I want you to think about Claude Code as the AI version of a human assistant that can do everything a human assistant can do, because, like, we keep coming back to the same theme, everything that is rote and manual, downloading, copying data, opening apps, opening documents, creating spreadsheets, all of that is code. And all that work should be done by our AI assistant. You should be setting it up in a way that I have set it up. And you should then be focusing on the important stuff, the creative stuff, right? Think about, like, for example, this talk that I need to give. It's going to be my expertise. I don't need to be opening up Google Slides and designing a slide for this. I want Claude Code to do that for me. All I need to do is just talk about my expertise and have Claude Code generate the slides for me from my expertise, right? I don't want to be sitting and figuring out all the different apps and tools that I need to make this work. I just want to figure out what I need to talk about and how to make it the most exciting, and then have Claude develop my vision. So if this was interesting, if this is something that you want to set up or learn how to set up, let me know. I've already written up instructions on my blog, so go check out my blog for more clearer instructions that you could just save that post, follow it step by step. Hopefully this video also gave you an idea of how to start. And then I'll be doing more deeper dives into specifically how to create various scripts and slash commands and skills for Claude so that it can all work together. But like I said, this has to be done by you because it's your system that you're building for yourself. I built a system for myself because it works for me. It may not work for you, but if I can give you the tools and the sort of mental framework on how to set it up, hopefully you can set it up on your own. So go try it out, check my blog, check my other videos for more deeper dives, and let me know if you need more content. Thanks for watching.